so we'll go ahead and start the meeting. It is the Moretown Selectboard. It is Monday, May 19th. Hey, Tom, you guys. Hey, you're all right, but just keep it down a little so I can hear myself. Where was I? We were May 19th. It is we're at the John Hogwell meeting room. Salute, John. And we'll go right to the agenda that starts with some public comment. So are you folks here for public comment or the route to watershed grant discussion? Okay. Let me make sure we got anyone online that needs to talk. Doesn't look like it. Anyone else here for open discussion, open comment? All right, let's go ahead. We have the request of resolution, which was tabled at last meeting, and we're going to go ahead and table that again because that's something that Don, I guess, would like to participate in. So let's go ahead. Carol, if you would like to lead the discussion on the watershed, I guess if you guys want to pull up to the table if you're involved in this. We're a little closer, so.
Yeah, we're pretending on the watershed.
Okay. So.
Do you want me to just start with what I've been able to answer the questions? So there's not going to be any additional engineering work. That's all set. So
Okay.
so the email that I sent today regarding the archaeologist coming out to do NEPA review, hopefully, if I get back to him tomorrow, he'll be able to do that quickly.
Okay.
And because that's kind of one thing that's holding things up. But just to take a step back and give the board a little bit of information about this. So these folks have had a whole bunch of engineering work done to address the runoff.
And just so the public record could hear their names, everyone's name.
Stephen Schaefer.
Amy Schaefer.
Amy, thanks.
Carol Chamberlain.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess actually probably is probably good.
And just to clarify, the engineering work hasn't been exclusive to us, it's the entire project.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a bigger project, but within that is the area of the stream that the EWP program awarded a grant to do the debris removal.
Okay.
Dredging, I don't know, but they call it debris removal. But they have requirements that need to be followed before any work can be done there. And one of the big things prior to any work being done is having a NEPA review, environmental and historic review. So they need somebody to go out and dig a few test holes and make sure there's nothing that needs to be addressed before the work can be done. So all the engineering work's been done, and these folks are waiting to get going on that, but they can't really do it because they can't really touch anything that's going to be part of the EWP program without this preliminary
Work can
work
take
getting
it.
done. So we're moving along on that. What else can I outline?
So I think the other big factor is, I believe it said in the grant that there's a bid process to find a
Yeah, okay,
contractor.
right, that was one of your other questions. So there's a bid process, so the town is really the sub-applicant and needs to go through the bid process and award the grant and then get the
Right.
match money back from, do you all remember this from?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. They did give approval that the town can just contract with the same person. That the town doesn't have to go through a separate bid process. It can all be one contractor doing the actual construction work. Because the construction work is the aspect of the project that is covered by the EWP grant. So the EWP program typically pays for all the engineering and all the preliminary work, and then it's the construction aspect that the town is responsible for the match portion.
All right.
So the engineering work has been done. There are a couple of things that Mike will point asked for from Trafton Crandall. Mike has left the,
Oh, sorry, I didn't
That's the
realize I
story.
had told you that meeting. Sorry. Yeah, he retired. Oh, good for him.
but then, I've been working with, somebody he was kind of copied on everything that he did from the beginning. And then the last couple of responses I actually got from Ally Salmon, who's the woman who I went out and actually did the site visit that you were at. I don't think either one of you were at that site visit, but you were both there. So she's been responding to me, and I don't know if she's moved up in the world to be more responsible for some of this stuff.
Yeah, I saw Trafton Crandall today in here, and he has communicated with me. It's two people that he's communicating with now, and he has sent them over the draft to break out the EWP portion of the project so that they can see that, the disturbance area and everything on the map. And he today went on their property and counted the trees that need to come down in order to, because anything over 3 inches, EWP has an issue with. We have to prove that those have to come down and what the reasoning is. And 8 out of the 9 are ash trees, which are basically not great anyway. And they're all buried in minimum 18 inches of sediment from the road coming down, and so they're going to die. Anyway, so Trafton is dealing with EWP at this point to explain that to them so that whatever waiver needs to be put through in order to take those trees down, and there's a couple leaning towards the house that really do need to come down sooner rather than later. So he is communicating with them now.
Okay, they had asked that he communicate with them through me, and if they're comfortable now with communicating directly with him, that's cool, but I should be copied.
Yeah, so I don't know what the process, he was waiting today, so he came out today to have a meeting on the Edge Drive project. And just talked to me as a part of that he had done this step, and he had done the maps out, but he was waiting for us to say, yes, it's okay to go ahead now. So I think that process will happen, I think he will be looped into that
Okay.
process.
Okay.
I don't think anything's actually been sent yet, it's all been discussed, but they were waiting to make sure that we had approved, because we're also part of the Edge Drive project in our section that's not the EWP. And so he was waiting for all that to be approved before it went out to anybody again to final bid it. And it's supposed to be broken out, the bid when it comes through is gonna be broken out as closely as possible to
So
the
that he-
EWP portion separate, so the town can see that portion separate.
Okay. So you folks can definitely jog my memory. I've been researching this stuff, buyout stuff, other things, kind of spitting information here, so.
It's a lot. So, I just want to confirm we don't have to go through the bidding, you guys don't have to go through the bidding process, we can use the same contractor for the whole thing.
Yep.
So have we already started the first part, so you know who the contractor is?
I'll read you what Alan wrote to me. As far as selecting a contractor, yes, you can use the same contractor that will be doing the rest of the work. We will just need to see the final bill for the section that qualifies for EWP separated from the rest of it.
Okay.
Which is. And you haven't put out for bids yet. That's your next step.
That's what we're asking about, is because we have a contractor on site that's working on
Okay,
Edge Drive.
to have somebody working on it, okay.
And rather than having another contractor have to
Right.
mobilize equipment, they're already there.
Okay.
So is that the contractor she's referencing, is the contractor that's there?
Yes.
Who is that contractor?
Kingsbury.
Kingsbury, all right, so a reputable contractor. So it's probably, that's why, I just want to make sure that where it starts, and we should probably confirm that this is who we're all thinking about, right?
I also just want to make sure, because if the grant specifies that the bid process is necessary, that we're not jeopardizing the grant,
Okay.
and is Ally's confirmation sufficient?
That's not unusual. I've been dealing with a lot of this. It's not unusual for that to happen, them to put that stipulation, or not stipulation, but grant that in the essence of time. It's kind of standard because, again, there's fewer contractors out there. And at this point, everything has been pretty well vetted.
That's the thing, it's like trying to get someone to come out and look, it's insane.
Right.
She did ask if you knew if there would be a pre-construction meeting, so I don't know if it's going to be done in phases and there would be a pre-construction meeting for the next phase of work after the drive is complete. But we can
I do not know, we're
coordinate that.
still in the process, we haven't signed any papers saying do this work yet.
Yeah, the
So-
only work that's right now is being done is Edge Drive.
Yeah.
And now it's the coordination among Tom and us and Steve Longchamp, who's on the other side. We're in the middle segment. So it's
So
trying.
Steve Longchamp has the other half of the EWP grant. Right.
So we just want to be able to, yeah, it's dizzying.
Yeah.
We just want to be able to coordinate because it just makes sense to coordinate. Whether or not we even, whether or not, if we would go with a different contractor, we would still want the same contractor for
Right.
all three, because we're the bottom of the hill. And it just makes sense, it's the same runoff bed to all the properties, so it just makes sense to do it all together.
And I will double check with Ally and Bob if I need to, what the actual logistics are for granting the contract, because while she says they just need it separated, I don't know if they need the town to actually award a portion of the contract.
3 different times, yeah.
Yeah, I need to figure that
Yeah.
part out.
I would probably say they'll have to do it 3 different times,
Right.
usually. But
Carol, I don't know if it would be useful, but Mike Dacey from Crew has been down and looked at the property and stuff, and I mentioned that to him, like, how is this logistically going to work? And he said, if you had any questions about that, he has worked with ones where the town is the core piece of it, but they don't have to necessarily be involved in all of the awarding part of it, that there's ways around that with the EWP, something that he's, and I don't know exactly what all those
Crew?
that might be, but
Yeah.
you could talk with him and see if he has any further.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then the other thing that we talked about way back in the beginning of this was the board wanting some kind of agreement signed with the property owners that they would be responsible for their portion of the match. However, it's decided to split it up among the different landowners. Because both this one and the other one at Cobb Hill, if they decide to go through with it, will be multiple people contributing. And I'm working with the town attorney to get appropriate document
Documentation.
drafted up that we can use.
Carol, I have a question. Can any of the money that they've already spent on engineering, since the EWP didn't have to do that engineering, can any of that be part of the in-kind money or not? You know?
I don't think so, because DWP covers the engineering, it's only the construction that the town's responsible for, so I'm not sure that there can be any,
So the match is the town's product, what you're
Right.
saying, so you're not sure if that.
right, because the engineering isn't on the tank. Engineering is EWP's thing, it's not part of the
Right, yeah,
town's.
so they're not gonna-
Yeah.
Double dip on that, or push it on, I don't think. I mean, you can check, just
I can check.
check anything, but, yeah, you can check it.
Something the EWP didn't have to spend.
Right. Any other questions? Board folks?
Rob and Mike, y'all good? So,
It's gonna be repeated, yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the time frame on this, you think? you know?
I don't, I think Kingsbury's there, and my guess would be that if NEPA can get in there, if they get in there and do NEPA review and get that all underway, I think that's the only thing that would need to happen before Kingsbury would be allowed to work in that area on that part of the project.
And it's the one person for that, the review had two different, the cultural review. and
It's the historical review and the EPA review.
But it's one person
It's
doing the
one,
whole.
yeah, just coming out and doing that.
Okay.
What was the estimate on the project? Do you remember?
Which estimate? I think.
The construction.
Yeah, one that was
Go to Martha, she knows.
Just roughly, I was just more curious, you know?
It depends, if you're talking about, what's Schaefer's right now, I think it was like 8,000, 9,000 maybe. And Longchamp was in the 62 to 64 range.
For the entire project.
Right, not for just the EWP part, that's, we've not had that broken out because we've not had the mapping to have that broken out separately yet, and we weren't sure whether the town had to break it out or whether we could, so that's part of.
What's the match on that?
The EWP estimate, I forget what the estimate was, but I know the match was just under $10,000, and the match is 25%, so if you want to reverse calculate that
I
again.
was just thinking it was 40.
It's 40-ish.
37.5.
Right, yeah,
and
I think it was like 37.5.
93.75
Yeah.
split between.
And that was the EWP estimated cost.
Right.
For the construction aspect of that project.
Yes. Real money, certainly.
So it sounds like once we get the numbers broken down by Kingsbury to get that EWP portion, that gets resubmitted and approved by EWP as an amount? Yeah. Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, so that would be, rather than the estimated amount, that would be the amount, and
Okay.
then whatever that amount is, the.
So if it came up higher and they approved it, our match would be higher than.
So, sorry, let me understand this. So potentially with the estimate, both the 37K and our share could go up?
Yes.
Depending on what Kingsbury
But
says.
the actual cost is, it could go down if it's,
Could go down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Kingsbury said, yeah, if it goes down, it's.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, could go down.
Glass is half full.
right, yeah.
We go push some of those trees away.
Yeah.
Approval to push the trees, yeah.
No, we don't push the trees. Don't
Big
push the
wind.
trees.
Yeah.
Pray for another storm.
Well, that's every time it rains, a little more of the stream bed clears out, so it's like.
Yeah.
I'm there when you have it.
Oh, it stays in the stream bed.
So, what else we got there? Is that-
Is there anything else on the?
You had added buyouts to the agenda. Did you
Yeah.
need anything or from
The
us
only
about
thing
that?
that's come up with the buyouts recently is because Majestic Auto is Majestic Auto, they're suggesting that, a hazardous site investigation be done. But I talked to them and they're not actually requiring that, so that's really something for me to discuss with the board, whether you want to go through with that or not. And I have a lot of information about that, but I don't know that you all really want to sit through that.
No, that's fine, but I just want to clarify something that came in through email today from you. So the way I interpreted it is it's a lump sum. Is it a lump sum for everybody who applied? Because there were a lot of people along that
Yeah,
stretch of
so the
road.
award is a big award for all the properties.
Okay.
And I still haven't gotten information on where they are with the appraisal process. Nobody's contacted any of you, right?
Correct.
I don't, they said a month, and it's been 2.
going through.
Yeah, and I just assumed they were doing more of a desktop appraisal, and they were asking you, for that duplication of benefits information to make sure they can factor that in.
Yeah.
And then they'll come up with an amount to offer you for your properties.
And are they working with that lump sum in mind for all the properties when they do their? It seems like it would be separate because an appraisal, in my opinion, should be regardless of what the grant amount is. So I'm just,
Well, I
if you
don't,
know anything about that part.
once again, I don't know definitively, but I know that there's an amount that has been granted and that is in Vermont's coffers at this point, and I don't know that anybody anticipates anything further coming from the federal government to Vermont for this project.
Then that gets into something that we've had some minor discussion about, where I don't know the exact number, but there's 7 properties that are involved in applying for the buyout. And we've been there and lived in a space as it's flooded, and we know that there are 2 or 3 properties that are higher risk, higher
And damage.
vulnerability,
I've been hit more frequently.
also would create a better floodplain buffer if they were gone for the rest of the houses. So it gets into, I don't know how it would work to sweeten the deal for some of them. And it may just be that appraisals come in, a couple of people say no.
So let me ask, may I ask you a question? That amount, is it just earmarked for Moretown, or is it the state of Vermont that's so much?
No, there's an award that has specifically been granted to Moretown.
All right, I think I did.
Yeah.
I saw that quite a while.
It was longer
Long-
ago than you think it was,
Right.
yes.
So that's the one that we were talking about, because we were at one point, we were sitting around thinking about, well, how do you split this up? Do you do,
Right.
because I would agree with you, it shouldn't be based on, we have, $100, and we need to split it equally 5 ways or something like that. It should be, what's your property appraised for, what's it worth, and, but I don't know how the federal government does it, so.
And the award does list each property with an estimate of an appraisal, but I don't even know if that's worth looking at this point, because they've got all this other information that they've got to factor in. I think they're going to look at the appraised value pre-2023 flooding, and that's why they're looking for the information, or am I wrong, Steve?
From what I understood, it's the condition of the home pre-2023 flooding, and then appraised at fair market value.
Okay,
So it shouldn't, because
so I might have missed.
despite the flood, despite the damage, despite being in a 9 flood zone, our property value is still going up.
Right.
Our taxes have gone up, our appraised tax value has gone up. So, from my understanding, they look at the condition of the home prior to the flood, and then current fair market value.
And then they factor in that duplication of benefits information, where they're looking for any money you've received from FEMA.
already.
And make
Right,
sure
and that's just a
you have
subtraction
spent
from it.
on-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that would make sense. It would be like most appraisals. They take the information and they take the fair market value, which is what has been selling. So that's all history they have, so they should be able to pretty accurately do that, I would imagine.
And then again, like I said, we can get a fair market value offer that seems low by a very reserved appeal process. But, and I'll get more specific. Our homes on the Knoll, Longchamps and Westover's are at really big risk. They've been hit the hardest. They're, Larry's had the river running in front of his house.
Right.
Steve's, the river's backed up to his house a couple times now. Those 2 properties seem like no-brainers to buy out. And taking those properties out and having that as a floodplain protects more of the properties. Our our house is kind of on the bubble. With those two houses gone, I'd feel a little safer. If our house was gone, the Douglas's property was even safer. So it's an odd moving picture.
Yeah, no, I understand, it's really odd. I mean, it's your home, and then you want to be protected. There's a lot of motion, a lot of moving parts going on, and there's a lot of uncertainty with FEMA and how the process works. But I think, Carol, I think you're doing it sounds like a really good job. We appreciate that. And everyone working with Carol and understanding that it's, these things do take time, but, we're all willing to work together with you and try to help you figure it out.
And the last thing I heard about the appraisal was it's taking us longer, please be patient, but I will start being a little more.
And it's also, we've had Senator Sanders' office looking at it, and they say, it could be another 5 years. Yeah.
But even if it's an incremental progress, I will take any progress. But even if we can get the appraisal done, that would be wonderful. Any progress is good.
Martha?
That is a big piece, because if we can get the appraisal and say that's not worth it, then
Right, if you're not even close,
we
it's like,
want money into protecting it.
right.
Or if we want to appeal, or,
Yeah.
it's just being stuck is very frustrating.
Absolutely. Martha, you had a comment?
Yeah, well, just a question, because you said that there is this number, and it's broken out by property, like, maybe not even looking at, is that public though, that can we look at that?
I would imagine.
Yeah, if they've sent it to us, we have it. I'll
Yeah.
try to find it what it is.
Yeah, it would be good. I understand that there's, has to be the adjustments of anything that's duplicated and all that, but just to see where their heads are at to start with would be potentially helpful.
And do we know how many properties, not just in Route 2, how many properties in Moretown are looking for a buyout?
It's just the cluster.
Yeah.
How far away?
It is just that.
There was one here in the village, right, oh, yeah.
So the pot of money that you're talking about when we say it's for Moretown, it's actually earmarked for Route 2 properties?
Yeah, it's for those, it's for the
Okay.
11 specific.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't sure if it was greater than our area. Okay.
All right. Any other questions, you guys? All right, we'll probably go ahead and move on then if we can.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Carol. And Carol's taking meeting minutes tonight because Sasha is out, so Carol, thank you.
We're gonna have to watch the recording or just, but there was a discussion about
You should be able to remember what you said. So it gets us to reports and communications so quickly.
Can I just
Yeah.
run through the Brella stuff quickly?
Sure,
Tom?
absolutely.
So they're not requiring that we actually do any investigation of hazardous site stuff because Majestic Auto is there. But they did flag Majestic and the 2 other properties on Majestic Drive as potentially needing review. The reason you might want to go through with it is to protect the town from any liability
Go forward. Yeah.
if we do take over those parcels.
Especially if it
and
becomes-
turn them into-
Right. If it becomes green space or whatever.
Right. So there's a phase 1 investigation. I don't know if any of you are familiar with any of this. So there's a phase 1 investigation and they look at it and they may come through after the phase, my understanding is that after the phase 1 investigation, they might say, there's nothing here and you're good to go. Or they might say there's the potential that there's some contamination and you should join the umbrella program, which is like a $500 application fee and filling out some paperwork and doing, et cetera, et cetera. And it provides the liability protection that the town would want going forward if they did find something in the phase 1. There's no money through the actual buyout process to pay for this. But the woman I'm working with at DEC has contacted the RPC person for me to see if there's any money from the Regional Planning Commission that might assist with. But I think it's pretty much the $500 unless there is some remediation needed.
And who pays that? Would the Douglases pay that?
Right.
or us?
It would be, the town would be the one that would be
Whatever.
being protected
Being
from further
protected, right.
liability, so
They're
I
not
think
them,
that
yeah.
it would be the town.
I would think that's not part of the grant that they're making them do that
Right,
study.
they're not making it do, they're not requiring as part of the grant, so I don't think that we can ask for payment through the grant to address it.
I think it's still something we need to do, you guys,
Yeah, and how long has that stopped in the auto shop?
long enough. I mean,
A long time?
Yeah.
So there's probably some, I don't know.
just some thinner somewhere.
There's probably some amount of something, right? And
Right.
then, I guess in the initial review, they would decide whether
Right,
it
the
was.
initial, the
something
phase
that we're
one looks like a
concerned about or not.
no-brainer, why would you not do
Do it
phase
right.
one?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think that's well down the road too, because if they don't even accept whatever's
bid,
offered for
right.
those properties,
That it's,
then
that's not.
it's
Do you remember what that amount of money was?
4 million, 5 million.
Was it that much? For some reason I thought it was less.
I mean, a lot of it was for administrative stuff and stuff. I looked today at a couple of the estimates and compared them to the current appraised value, and they were kind of close, a little under, and then a couple of them were over. So I don't know how it's looking. That's why it's tough to even show them. But
Right.
Yeah.
I know if it was my house, I'd want to see, well, this is,
Right up front, what I want to fool around with is to figure out where they're going. All right, so I guess move ahead with the initial and keep us informed.
okay,
All right.
thanks.
All right. So I am going to start with a couple things that Sasha left for us. We're in communications. Mary Murphy over the church, they're having some water going into the basement. And I did speak to Ray about this today. It was from the new pavement, they think. Ray doesn't think so. He went over with Mary and they looked at the pavement and put a level on it, and everything goes away from the church. But Ray's going to come back when it's raining, which he'll have ample time to do this week, and see if there's anything that sticks out. Okay, woodforwood.org is and is looking for a place in Moretown to have a spot for wood, which is a program that helps give free heating wood to families. They wanted to see if Moretown was interested before I gave them an agenda to talk to you about, or a spot on the agenda. So I think we could probably find some place to put some wood, right, for families if it's, so have them come in here and at least listen to what they have to say.
is that the group that's out of Waitsfield, that like the Ned Kelly's really involved with, is that different?
I have no idea. It says woodforgood.org.
I don't think Ned's group is called Wood for Good,
Yeah,
but
I
I
think it
could
is
be
that
wrong,
way.
but that doesn't ring a bell at all.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we have? We also have from Ray. Did you give me back that? Oh, here it is right here. Sorry. So, good one. We have several mitigation projects from the 2023 storm event that remain to be completed. Most have been obligated by FEMA, with the remaining expected soon. The completion date for this work is currently January 2026. It is 90% funded by FEMA. It is best for the town to get as much work of this work done as we can this year, because I'm not sure how much can be extended beyond the completion date. I've asked Pat Ross, a former stream alteration engineer with Vermont A&R, to put some proposals to help us through the projects that require A&R permitting. These proposals have been sent to the town. I recommend that the board sign these for reasons of availability of services. He's able to begin work with approval. Pricing is in line with other engineering companies. And he is very familiar with the permitting process to be able to get it done in a timely manner. So we have, and this is all work that would be covered by FEMA grants. So one contract. Is everyone familiar with Pat Ross?
Yeah.
No, I was going to say you probably know him. You must have. He actually might have been on the board when he was with A&R Stream Alteration. He used to deal with him. Engineer, nice guy. Anyways, the first proposal, I'll just tell you the amount. The amount is for $14,750. There's it's all broken down. There's in the tasks, there's the scope of the work, and everything is in there. So again, it's basically hydro reports. It's everything that we need for the A&R permits, so that we can get our work done. And the second, actually take the sites just so we have those on the record. It's engineering service site number 2, Jonesbrook Road, culvert ID 20.11. That was the 14.7. And then we have an estimate of 9,500 for site. Again, on Jonesbrook Road, but it's, this will be. So the first one is actually Wardbrook Road. Culvert ID is 17.21. And then Wardbrook into Hog Hollow Road. And then the second one was Jonesbrook. Culvert 20.11. And that was for 9,500. So those are two proposals. Is there a discussion, or is anyone want to make a motion here?
We had all the permits for that already.
Well, I guess it's not.
Yeah, because I mean, they're supposed to start on Jonesbrook July 1st.
Is that this particular culvert here?
There's only one that they're doing, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's only coming from from Ray, who's doing our, our workforce. He says that we need this, so I guess we can be done. I don't know, we can table it if we want. And ask it.
No, it's fine. As soon as stuff gets done, soon
Yeah,
as
no,
stuff gets moved off my court.
No, I think it's kind of new to all of us here as far as meetings, right?
Because I thought we had all the permits for all of that. I mean, that was the last that I had heard from her. I mean, we haven't even seen any agreements for anything. I mean, they've been talking about agreements forever.
Oh,
Yeah, and we haven't seen anything. And they're supposed to start July 1st, so.
well, let's go ahead. I'll move to approve these, and then if there's a second, Mike seconds. So further discussion. So if we go ahead, we can approve these, but with the caveat, we can reach out and get Ray here. I just don't want to put roadblocks into something we may want to go forward with. But we should get some clarity. Yeah, let's get some clarity on it.
Yeah.
That is, I'll add that to the motion. And all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. We just have, so this is just some stuff to sign. We can go ahead and talk about after. Callie, do you have anything that you want to talk about with reports or communications, announcements? Right, Robin?
For me.
So, let's just do the other thing that we had. Morefest. So last time we were here, or last time you guys were here, I guess, the school board, or not the school board, some school. PTO. And they wanted to.
Sure it was on and basically just it.
Yeah, so I reached out to, well, actually, Sasha tried to do it, or did some of it. And Michelle, I guess, resigned from, I guess we all knew that. Finally got in touch with Lindsay today, and I spoke with Stefan, and I think Lindsay's more than willing to help out, and so is Stefan. I did speak to Chris from the rec committee, and thought that maybe, and asked the rec committee would be okay with taking it over or overseeing it or some kind of directing, just so we're not in this position here where we're in June and we don't have anything going on. So Chris has said he would do that, but I don't want Stefan and Lindsay to be, hey, we're taking things over for them. So.
Well, Stefan doesn't want to plan it. I don't know what you talked to him, so he's like happy to support it and do the fire,
Yep.
role, but he doesn't want to be in charge of planning it, and so.
That's the gist I got out of him, but
Right.
he was going to get back to me before the meeting, but we didn't have a chance to touch base. And it sounded like from Lindsay's text, she was kind of in the same vein. Hey, I'll help out. I just haven't heard anything. So they have a meeting next Monday, the rec committee. And I also asked if Chris could reach out to the people from the PTO, invite them, and maybe they have an empty seat on the rec committee. Maybe someone from the PTO could get on the rec committee so that they can kind of coordinate it through that. And maybe, and Chris said he'd like to find someone within his committee or someone to kind of drive the whole thing, because that weekend or in the fall, it's his wife's. They have some things that go on. I think it's her birthday and other things. So he doesn't know the weekends that he's free or not. So he's going to try to get someone to kind of spearhead it, if you will. If, again, it sounds like Lindsay didn't want to hold that role nor step on. So someone will do it and we'll make it happen. So.
And we already approved everything with fireworks,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. All the money's there and everything's.
Yeah, but the money isn't. I talked to Sherilyn because then I talked to Stefan on Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, let's just make sure the money's there." And then I looked through the town report, couldn't find it, and I emailed Sherilyn, and then she circled back with me maybe on Friday and said, "There's not a line item in the budget for it." I think it was just an omission, and so she was saying we could just make a motion to move the money from the capital reserve or allocate the money from the capital reserve, but because I looked all through the town report and I emailed her and said, hey, am I missing something? I don't see the line item, and she said, no, I think we just got.
Oh, are you sure? I am certain that we.
That's what she said on Friday. We could once again table it and then know that we could allocate the money in any minute, but that's what Sherilyn told me on Friday, because I emailed her on Thursday, I think, after I stopped in and talked to Stefan and the other guys, so.
Yeah, no, I think it's something we, will support, right, as a board. And I told them that, and we'll let Chris and everyone know it as well. In the meantime, we'll all go through, but if you look through it, I'm sure you didn't miss it, but for some reason, I thought we.
I thought we did too, and I
Yeah,
thought
we
we had already
talked about
signed
it,
a
but
contract and we're
No,
and everything.
no, that I checked into as well. I had Sasha check in with them, and we didn't do that, but yeah. I'm losing my mind.
Me too.
I thought I saw it in there under red. God, I don't know. Either way, we'll figure it out, but I think it's something we should tell them to do it and get this committee going. Martin also had a question, and I'm going to look at my phone if everyone doesn't mind, if I can find the name. I don't know if he sent me the name or not, but it was on Condon Road, and maybe people here that are looking to add material. He said, and I can't recall it, but did we talk to someone on the Condon Road, or did Martin come in here with a discussion with someone on the Condon Road, and we agreed that if they bought material, we would spread it out?
Not since I've been here. I think there's only one house on Common Road. I think it's just Normal and Vince. Pretty sure there's only one house up there.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I didn't either, and that, because he had asked,
Yeah, two
he,
houses, but one ownership. But only one.
McGibbons Road, I'm sorry. Matt Kendall? I just spoke with Matt. We had an agreement with him a year or two ago that if he purchased the material, the town would place it. I just wanted to run it by you. Are you okay with honoring this agreement? And so I called him and talked about it. I had no.
Assuming this is like, because McGibbons goes as a class 3 and then it splits and Slaki goes to the right, McGibbons stays straight. And I'm assuming then that.
It's class 4.
Well, I think it becomes class 4 at that point because the town plows up to that point.
Yeah.
Maintains that, so then I think McGibbons keeps going, it must be class 4 for It's a little ways to the house out there.
And I mean, I don't recall, but I don't, I forgot some things. And I'm not sure whether, he wasn't clear with me whether it was an agreement that Martin had just made and he brought it to us or the guy was here. I just don't recall anyone coming in here.
I definitely do not recall anyone
That or
coming in
even-
in the last year referencing that.
Right,
now.
and Martin said that it had been a couple of years, or 1 to 2 years. The guy said he'd been waiting because of all the work going on and such. Now it was a little quieter. So I don't know if that's something that we want to do. Martin said that to him it wasn't a big deal. He would just line it up when he's over there with the grader to do it. And he said the road was fine to do, but.
So we're only grading it, we're not trucking, this guy's.
No, we're not trucking anything.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's they're bringing in the materials.
Great.
We're just going to spread it out for them.
Yeah.
And it's, I think in our road policy, it's not clear. At one point, we did have that in an older agreement, but I don't think that we have included that in any of our new policies as far as, I think it was one of our original that if people got, or maybe we just would do it on occasion.
Yeah, I think in how the policy's worded now, they can make requests. That would be a repair on the
That would
road,
be-
and they can make a request to the,
Right, I think I probably have it, I think how it says now, it says the town can choose to maintain
Right.
class 4 roads as we choose, so long as it doesn't damage our equipment. And that's a pretty good stretch of road, so I think Martin's probably thinking, oh, we just grade.
Right.
I don't know.
He didn't seem to, and Martin's usually pretty good about protecting his equipment or not doing things that he doesn't think it's applicable. So I'm all right with it. If you guys are to let him use his judgment on doing it, it'll fit under the policy. And again, it's improving our road. It is a class 4 road, but if someone wants to put material down for it, if we were over there, we can spread it out. I don't have a huge problem with that.
Yeah, so it's just up to Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
totally.
Just wanted to
Martin on that.
get that. There's just another right-of-way permit that someone wants us to do. On that's the one on Condon Road. Again, someone's just adding material to the road and they're spreading it themselves, so we'll go ahead and do that. These are just overload permits here. What else we have? We have also, this is a CVRPC contract to do a mandatory road erosion inventory. Something we need to do each year. We have, a grant is the next page, right? So amount awarded was $7,900, $79.84. And we just need, and that comes from Better Back Roads to do a road erosion inventory. What else? This is just an updated form for local emergency management plan. I don't think there's anything changed. This is just pay stuff you guys have to look at. And I think that's all the communications and such that I have. Any old business, anything else that's going on? Mike?
Old business, I brought up the last meeting, but I haven't done anything, is I was talking with someone on the Waitsfield Selectboard recently, and Waitsfield just finished their, these guys already heard this, their ash inventory of the roads, and he thought they got the funding through CVRPC, but anyways, I'm saying Moretown, we need to figure out getting an inventory of the ash trees within the town right away. Because we need to start figuring it out. We need to have a plan to start taking them out so they don't, because like they found EAV in Waterbury, in Moretown, Berlin. So, because I don't know how familiar you are with it, but it's an emerald ash borer. It ends up being like 99.9% mortality.
Yep.
but ash trees become really brittle when they're dead. And so then if we are paying a tree service to say take down trees that are dead, we're gonna be paying a hazard rate instead of like, say, being on somebody's schedule.
Oh, really?
to be
Yeah.
Working up and down the road.
Yeah.
And
No kidding,
so-
yep.
And then even, and I've been meaning to look and see if UVM has more information, but these guys already heard this too. Like, I think in the Midwest when it came through, they figured out, some towns figured out it was cheaper to like herbicide or like inoculate the trees with pesticide for a couple of years and then pay a normal rate to get it removed, than paying to just like have them taken down immediately. You know?
Yep.
So it's just something, and
So you're saying kind of let them half die then and take?
no, because there is a pesticide that you inject in the tree and it makes the tree resistant for I think 2 years. I think you have to keep doing it.
okay.
Right, but it's
Oh,
expensive
okay.
to inoculate them, but I think like.
Cheaper than the
But
premium
cheaper
price.
than-
Right.
Premium price.
And these might have been
Yeah.
like trees in a park or next to a
Yeah,
school or
yeah.
something, you know. But yeah, it's like cheaper to do that than to like,
Try to take them all down.
right, or pay to take
Yeah.
those particular trees down if they've been dead, and then plus you have a safety hazard at the same time.
Kids.
Right, so, so I'll try to reach out to CVRPC this week, and I'll talk to the guy in Waitsfield and see what else we know.
Yeah, see if there's any other-
We have to start,
Thinking about,
right.
cool.
The heater at the Historic Society, we did bring that up. The ladies came in last week, Corey and Bridget, and they were looking for some funding, and we kind of said we'd like to try to help them out with that.
So I had some questions on that. I did read a little bit on the minutes and such. Who actually owns the building?
Town.
Library
The
trustees.
library trust.
It's the library trustees, right? So that's, I guess, I want to make sure of that. And do the library trustees not have any money to pay for the heater?
I believe they said that would completely wipe away their fund for maintenance.
Okay.
And they were just asking for maybe a 50% match by the town.
And did they have did I see 2,700 or something like that?
They
Is it?
had one estimate. And when I talked to Sherilyn Tuesday morning, I was like, maybe we should look, because they had mentioned that Gillespie's
Does-
basically has the tank.
Right.
So to get an estimate from them too,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
because with one estimate, if they're running the tank, they may give us a better,
Yeah, what was their estimate for over? I guess it really doesn't matter.
2,900 was the
29.
estimate.
yeah.
And yeah, so I have you put heating on the Historical Society's budget, not the library, so I don't know, I think maybe they're saying maybe the heating should be on the library's budget, because it's library trustees in the building, not the Historical Society.
I see.
Right, I think that was. part
Oh,
of the
that was
discussion.
part of it too,
Right,
yeah.
like the money should maybe become.
Move the other way.
Right.
All right.
And I think that's what they're, I think we need to work that out in their MOU with them, because they own the building. They are renting it essentially from them, however they have that organized.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea to look at that MOU, figure out how that is. And,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind helping out at some point here, but let's get all the lines kind of straight so we would know. Because one minute I hear, well, the town owns it and you need to pay for this, this and that. But then when it comes to other things, it's all like, well, no, the trustees own it and you don't have any say. So,
Right.
you know, I just want to make sure that there's some clear communications.
And they kind of also mentioned they wanted some clarification on that. Maybe they don't want to carry that burden
Right.
with the trustees anymore because of the maintenance issues. That's maybe something they want to offload to the town. So maybe, I don't know.
And then does the town want it? Because,
Right, right.
you know, because, I mean, it's a good, nice building, but there's like there's no water. That's the
Yeah,
problem with the whole
yeah,
thing. You know, it
yeah.
can't be really used for much.
So that was a question that they had.
So we'll ask them to, I guess they need to do a better job as far as, I should say better job, but expand their bid process. And maybe that's something I'll ask Sherilyn, well, she's got enough stuff on her plate, but someone internally needs to work with them. I'll ask Sasha, maybe she can do that, to kind of figure out that process and then look into, I mean, I know the ownership, personally I know what it is because I've been around it long enough, and when they switched over to the town library and what happened to the building. So I know it's the trustees own that building. But maybe like you said, maybe there's some discussion that needs to go on about that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're open to helping them out, I guess. Well, we should have ended it earlier. Just. So is there any other business, anything else?
Business.
That's all I have for old business.
Either, yeah.
New business would be, I mentioned to you, Martin was talking to me about hydro seeder. I'll put a bunch of notes on my phone. He was saying, I think a lot of the FEMA work might require, it requires seeding and mulching. And so even though hydro seeder is a more expensive way to seed, it's more efficient and it's more effective. And so he was saying that, I guess, he said Waitsfield Basin or Waitsfield and Warren each have the same model. It's a Flynn brand. They paid 12 to 15 grand for it 10 years ago. He said we need a reverse agitator. But he was saying that he could probably pay for it out of his craft budget for this year. So it would be like an additional expenditure, like we just craft budget. He obviously has to get quotes. We don't have the exact model. So it sounds like he's talked to them, which would make sense. So just told me to bring it up.
You know, I think it's, thanks for bringing it up. And so maybe you could pass on to them that go ahead and get some quotes, get 3 quotes, and I'll take a look at the budget. You can all take a look at the budget. And I want to talk to him, taking 12,000 out of where it's going to be worth 12,000, 20,000 out of gravel. Yeah, I just want to know how that's going to impact the roads and what his decision is behind that. And probably because they're doing FEMA stuff, that's going to make up for it.
Right.
I think that's kind of what he said.
Yeah, I think that's probably where he's going with it, and also whether we'll actually have the time to do that, because we're doing some of the other FEMA stuff. Because I did speak to Martin, maybe it was Sunday night, I guess, or last week. I guess it was more about the work schedules, and you know they're pretty busy already, and just trying to catch up in the maintenance. So.
See, I think part of it is he was saying in the FEMA stuff, I think they're required to seed mulch or maybe over a certain percent slope.
Right.
So he's saying like they would make up the revenue by doing the FEMA stuff, and this would make
No, I get it.
projects more efficient. But
No,
yeah,
no, I get it. And I don't really see any problems with it, but I just want to double check that we're not stealing from one to the other and then be caught short. But there's enough in that budget that's that we can steal a little bit around and make it work, I think. What else, Mike? Anything else?
I think that's everything I have for new business.
All right. Yeah, I think we can just look at.
You want to make that a review?
No, I just heard a little about the Morfest part.
Oh, yeah, we already talked about that.
Yeah.
Snap, okay,
Oh.
this said 7, so.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, we got moving ahead, and I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
I'm Natessa Canoyer, and I'm one of the teachers here at Moretown School, and I also live here.
Oh, nice.
So we had
Why don't you pull your seat up, or let's come up.
we had just been here a couple weeks ago about what was happening with Morfest.
Yeah.
Because we're getting ready to leave. This chair's nice.
After the meeting, we actually race around this thing, you know, loser buys. So let me fill you in. So the people that were involved last year, 2 of the 3 are still involved. I spoke with them towards the end of last week and this week. I also spoke with Chris Stevenson. He runs the rec department. So Chris is going to kind of oversee it, work with Lindsay and Stefan, find out how much they want to do and how much they don't want to do. And it was also shared that you and I think someone else came in last time as well. And so to make sure that the PTO was involved in such, is thought that you could attend the meeting. It's next Monday night, I think. It's Memorial Day. I don't know why they did that, but you can figure out. Anyway, so one of the PTO members maybe get on the rec committee.
Okay,
if you want, and that way you could work on that and work with the PTO, so you can be like the conduit between
okay,
the two. And who knows, because Chris is going to look for someone to kind of really oversee the whole thing, because he does not have the time or effort. I mean, yeah, he'll put in the effort, but over the weekends in the fall, he has some things that go on. So he's going to look for someone within the rec committee to say, all right, I'll be the point person on it and coordinate. And I know like Stefan's got the fire department stuff. Lindsay, I think, is going to do fireworks and help organize. She was really good with organizing, but I just don't know the scope of what they want to do. But I hope everyone wants to be involved. I hope the PTO and you want to be involved, or it sounds like it. And we'll figure it all out to make it work.
that sounds great to us. I think from the PTO, and Lisa's also on Friends of the Library, we just wanted to make sure we weren't losing either that fundraising opportunity and having to come up with something else. Kind of
Yeah, no.
if we knew it was gonna kind of dismantle or change, so that's perfect, and we'll get in touch with Chris and all.
Yeah, it's kind of got a little later than what we wanted on these things, but all of a sudden,
That's all right, that's how we were feeling too, we're like, we have to wrap this up in some way, before we leave.
So it is on their agenda, it's on mine and the board. It sounds like everyone is gonna do something to make it happen.
Perfect, sounds good, thank you so much.
All right, thanks for stopping in. What grade do you teach?
I teach 1st and 2nd grade.
Oh, wow, those are great classes,
Yeah, they're fun.
I bet.
They're really fun. We're getting towards the end of the year, we all feel it, but. Have a good night. Thank you.
Don't know how you do it. I remember my kids were in that age and I started coaching soccer, After one practice, I went back to the teachers and I said, how do you do this all year with these kids? They don't listen, they don't do anything. I was like, man, you deserve a pay raise, so hats off to our teachers.
Yeah, they listen to their teachers.
I guess, yeah. Respect, I guess,
They
right?
also have a knack for kids that are into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, teachers, they really were, they're a special thing, that's for sure, that can do that. I was probably not one of those special people. So here, I'll pass these around. These are just things to sign off on. Ms. Carroll?
Last fall, we had a DRB application for pond repair, and the applicants weren't able to retain an engineer to have everything done, so they went through, they paid all the application fees they had here, and the DRB thought it was best to just deny the hearing without prejudice, or deny the application without prejudice, and have them reapply when they can get an engineer this spring. And they did say in their decision that it was probably appropriate to have the fee waived for their spring application. I don't have the authority to waive the fee, but you folks do.
We do. What was the name on it? Do you remember?
It's the, what's the name on it?
Yeah, just so we-
It's John and Dave Lynch.
All right. So I'd move to give,
To waive the DRB fee.
waive the DRB fees. Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome.
Can I get a second on that?
Second.
All in favor, vote aye. Thank you.
Thank you. They actually, he came in the other day and he said that the person they've been talking to on winter was not do the work in the spring has decided that they don't do ponds anymore. So now they're scrambling to find an engineer. So I told her I would get this part of it out of the way so that if they found somebody they could just,
Don't do ponds anymore after waiting all winter.
great.
That's disappointing for them. That common road if you want to. This is just a little bit. No permits or such, do you want those put on?
No, I glanced at all.
All right, yeah, no, I didn't, not too interesting.
No, they weren't too interesting. Shit. Oh, good, we get this for us.
I don't know if anyone watched, this is a report from the Vermont River Conservatory. A report that they've done over at the walk on Route 2. So they're gonna replace some of the signs and do some of the sign things over there.
Where's that? Over by,
Over by the landfill, it's right past the, right before the metal recycling. Oh, Carol, so I'm glad you're here. So, the metal recycling place on Route 2, their permit is coming up for renewal this year. It had been a 5-year, but then last time they were in, we ended up changing it to 2 or 3, whatever it is. I just had to check on it a couple weeks ago.
That wasn't just renewed?
No,
we haven't renewed it yet, no.
I didn't sign anything. I think you guys didn't when we were, I was gone, did you? And it's, I mean, look at the place. It looks like it really needs a lot of work with the fencing and stuff. Would you take a look at that and just see where that sets as far as what it's supposed to be and what it is, please? All right, that's about all I have. I don't know what. Anybody?
Should probably update the VRC's contact, we still have John's email.
All right, yeah, that's, maybe make a note on that, Mike, and then, to Cheryl Lynn if you want. Eric, I guess we talked, Eric does have his permit. We were wondering about that at one point a few weeks ago. I did speak to him, congratulated him, and then asked him if he's gonna be, or he volunteered. He and Stefan work on the driving and the pre-ride or the pre-trip. I guess that's the bigger thing to do. So they're gonna work, but I think within a month or two, he'll have that or go for his test. Certainly by July, I think, or not July, by August, yeah.
I would say have him be very solid with his pre-trip
Yeah, that's
first. Because
that's where people fail.
if they're gonna get you anywhere, it's
Yeah.
gonna be on your.
And Eric's,
first
yeah, because
inspection.
he's driven every, so I think he's comfortable with that, but yeah, it's I guess every bolt, everything that moves, every hose and such has to be evaluated, so. Anyways, all right, well,
That's for CPO.
that's for CPOs, yeah. All right, so I would move to adjourn.
Minutes.
Oh, darn. Thank you, Lindsay. I would, we'll go ahead and make a motion.
Make a motion to accept for minutes of May 5th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor? There you go. So now I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, everyone, thank you for coming tonight.